We have more details about how and why the Houston Police Department started using the controversial code that left thousands of crimes ignored, uninvestigated, and labeled suspended due to lack of staffing.
Fox 26's Dominique Keith is joining us live at Houston City Hall, where the acting HPD chief addressed City Council for hours. Dominique.
Yeah, for nearly 3 hours, acting HPD Chief Larry Satterwhite gave Houston City Council members and the mayor detailed information about what's in this now complete report from the mayor's independent oversight board. And Chief Satterwhite answered questions from City Council members regarding the HPD cases that were coded SL or suspended due to lack of personnel. Now, according to Chief Satterwhite, that code was created back in 2016 to identify non-violent crime such as a stolen bike or a lawnmower that was taken from someone's yard. And he says that code was supposed to be placed on that case, and then the case was supposed to be revisited once the staffing shortage was brought up to par.
I will say our first major failing was that there were no parameters or guidelines established when the code was established. I think there was an expectation that surely you would never use it for certain cases. Unfortunately, it was, because it wasn't in policy, and it ended up being used in cases that we should never have used it for.
I just want to emphasize the seriousness of this. This is not car break-ins or property crimes. These are the worst, some of the worst cases.
In fact, Houston Police Department Acting Chief Larry Satterwhite says it was an egregious case that brought light to this massive problem of HPD cases being suspended due to lack of personnel. In that case, a Fiesta grocery was robbed in 2023. The robber rode away on his bike, broke into a family's home, tied up the husband, and sexually assaulted the wife. The criminal's DNA came back to the same attacker in a case that had been suspended due to lack of staffing.
At that time, the question across everybody was, how could this happen? What's going on? And how bad is it? And this is at the end of last year. So we did a deep dive over the course of the next month and a half. We discovered over 4,000 sexual assault cases in the Special Victims Division that had been suspended lack of personnel. And we discovered overall throughout the department 264,000 cases that had been suspended lack of personnel.
I agree with you. This was a systematic failure in many ways.
This was a horrible situation at HPD, but the underlying issue is lack of staffing. And we have known this now for 10 years.
The number of non-investigated cases wasn't new. In 2014, Chief McCullum said 20,000. So it wasn't like they didn't know. People knew.
We are severely understaffed, and that is going to be one of the base causes of how this happened. It doesn't excuse it. What happened in our department is unexcusable.
Now, the mayor says the city will come up with resources to get HPD more officers and more investigators. And Satterwhite says the department is still extremely short-staffed. And he says several policies have now been put in place to keep something like this from ever happening again. One such policy is now, whenever a case is closed, before it's closed, it will have to be reviewed by several people at several different levels. Reporting live outside Houston City Hall, I'm Dominique Keith, Fox 26 News.